I'm not gonna say anything, but I think everybody saw the game, so they know what happened. It was a lot. I think it wasn't fair, but we just gotta play the game. I gotta keep playing the game, but it was a lot, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Luka Dončić has always played with passion, intensity, and an unshakable drive to win. He wears his emotions on his sleeve, fights for every possession, and refuses to back down, even when it means going head-to-head with the officials. Initially, his reactions seemed like typical superstar frustration, the kind that comes from a fierce competitor, demanding fairness in the heat of battle. However, over the years, it has become something more. This isn't just about bad calls anymore. It's starting to feel personal. During his time with the Dallas Mavericks, Luka's intensity and willingness to speak up for himself and his teammates have frequently put him in conflict with referees. He isn't just complaining for the sake of it. He's fighting for fairness, consistency, and respect. One of his greatest strengths as a leader is his commitment to standing up for his teammates. He has never been one to let a questionable call slide, especially when it impacts his team's chances of winning. No matter the situation, Luka always stands up for those around him, ensuring their voices are heard and their efforts are respected. On the court,
O'Neal puts it up off the mark. Tip up, no. Nurkic can't get at the ball. Overtime. Or are they calling a foul?
Yes.
Luka didn't hesitate to challenge the officials after a teammate was hit with a foul he felt was undeserved. He approached the referee calmly but firmly, making his case without backing down. However, standing up for his teammates wasn't always enough. Sometimes he was the one on the receiving end of game-changing calls. As Luka's star power grew, so did the number of questionable calls against him. Suddenly, in crucial moments, the whistles seemed to blow at his expense, often at times that could shift the outcome of a game. What once felt like isolated incidents began to appear as a pattern, making it increasingly difficult for him and his team to fight for victory on a level playing field.
And Murray, shot clock winding down. Call the foul! And there's going to be a challenge here. Dallas is going to challenge this. This is right front.
Point in the game, Luka was penalized once again, visibly frustrated as the referees made a decision that could cost his team the win. He gestured in disbelief, trying to understand how a routine play had resulted in yet another call against him. Moments like these weren't just frustrating, they were a glimpse into the challenges he would continue to face as his career progressed. And once he arrived in Los Angeles, things only got worse. Since joining the Lakers, Luka has been on the receiving end of some of the most baffling officiating decisions in the league. Bad foul calls? Check. Technical fouls for no reason? Check. Being completely ignored when he's clearly fouled over and over again. At this point, it's not just frustrating, it's a pattern. Every player deals with questionable calls from time to time. But for Luka, it has become a nightly battle. The NBA has long been built around marquee players. The stars fans pay to see, the ones who carry franchises and dictate the biggest moments of the game. Yet, when it comes to Luka Dončić, it seems those rules don't apply. He doesn't get the same whistle as other superstars. Instead, he finds himself trapped in a frustrating cycle of soft fouls called against him, blatant no calls when he's fouled, and technicals for the most ridiculous reasons imaginable. If you think he's just another superstar complaining, think again. The patterns, the clips, and the moments that have piled up over the years make it impossible to ignore. Luka Dončić is officiated differently, and not in a good way. Every player picks up fouls. It's part of the game. Some are justified, some are questionable, and then there are those so blatantly bad that they make you wonder if the officials are even watching the same game. For Luka, it's happening far too often. The way he gets whistled for minimal contact is downright laughable. Some of these calls wouldn't even happen in a casual pickup game at the local gym, yet in the NBA, Luka keeps getting penalized for nothing. And the worst part, it always seems to happen in key moments. Luka isn't known for being a physical defender. He doesn't aggressively hand-check or throw his body into opponents. Yet, based on the calls he gets, you'd think he was playing 1990s-style defense in an era where simply breathing on an opponent is enough for a whistle. Just watch this play. Luka gets called for a foul simply for being near Kyrie Irving. Moments like these only add to the frustration, raising the question, why is Luka Dončić officiated so differently from the rest? This is a textbook example of bad officiating. Kyrie Irving, one of the best ball handlers in NBA history, tries to create space against Luka. Luka barely touches him, yet the whistle blows immediately. What is he supposed to do? He was simply playing defense. He didn't reach in, didn't grab, and didn't bump Kyrie off balance. Yet somehow he still gets punished just for existing. This isn't just a bad call. It's a game-altering one. When players like Kyrie Irving, Jalen Brunson, or James Harden are allowed to sell contact and bait referees into calling fouls, but Luka doesn't get the same benefit of the doubt, the game isn't being officiated evenly. Take this foul call on Jalen Brunson just as ridiculous. Brunson, known for his ability to manipulate defenders into fouling him, initiates the contact, loses the ball due to Luka's great instincts and anticipation, yet Luka still gets whistled for the foul. Meanwhile, when Luka takes a hit like that, he gets nothing. These types of calls add up over the course of a game. By the fourth quarter, Luka is often in foul trouble for virtually nothing. It's a pattern that's becoming impossible to ignore. If Luka so much as breathes on a defender, it's a foul. But when he's the one getting hit, the refs suddenly lose their whistle. Again, watch this play. Luka gets hit against the Mavericks. No call. Then, when he reacts in frustration, he gets a technical. The inconsistency is glaring, and at this point, it's hard to argue that Luka isn't being officiated differently from the rest of the league.
Out quickly now to the quarterback. Spinning around, Dončić, 1, 2, he's in the lane, and then got bottled up, and he's going to get a technical foul. They tee up Luka.
Well, he turned immediately.
This is where the inconsistencies become unbearable. Luka drives into the lane, gets hit by multiple defenders, and yet no whistle. Frustrated, he reacts the way any player would, expecting the officials to acknowledge the missed call. But instead of correcting their mistake, the refs double down and hit him with a technical. Make it make sense. This wasn't just a missed call, it was a missed call that turned into an even worse one. Luka takes clear contact. Nothing. He expresses his frustration. Technical foul. At this point, what is he supposed to do? He can't defend without getting called for soft fouls. He can't drive without getting hacked with no call. And he can't even react without being punished. It's not just frustrating, it's demoralizing. When a superstar of Luka's caliber is officiated this unfairly, it doesn't just hurt him, it hurts the game. Fans don't tune in to watch. Referees dictate the outcome. They want to see the best players compete on a fair playing field. But with the way Luka is being officiated, you have to ask, are the refs trying to send him a message? Because if they are, Luka isn't backing down. And if they keep trying to break his spirit with bad calls, they're in for a rude awakening. Just look at this. Luka takes clear contact against the nets and the refs act like nothing happened. They simply move on, as if the foul never existed. Once again, there's clear contact, yet no whistle. Luka drives to the basket, takes a hard hit and goes down, but the referees act as if they didn't see a thing. Instead of stopping the play, they let it continue, forcing Luka's teammates to scramble back on defense while he remains on the floor for a few seconds, visibly frustrated, trying to process what just happened. At this point, what else can he do? Slowly, he gets up, shaking his head, clearly trying to keep his composure. But the frustration isn't just about this one play, it's about the countless times it has happened before. If this were Jason Tatum, James Harden, or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they'd already be at the free throw line. The issue isn't just bad calls, it's the inconsistency. Luka gets whistled for minimal contact on defense, yet when he's the one absorbing contact on a drive, the officials stay silent. How is he supposed to adjust when the officiating is this unpredictable? These moments aren't just frustrating, they're game-changing. And at this point, it's impossible not to ask, is Luka being officiated fairly, or is there something bigger at play? Just look at this. Luka gets called for one of the softest offensive fouls you'll ever see. Luka Dončić is a master at controlling the pace of the game. His footwork, body positioning and balance allow him to get shots off without relying on overwhelming speed or athleticism. He knows how to create space without pushing off, how to initiate contact legally, and how to maneuver through defenders with elite skill. So when he makes a clean offensive move only to get whistled for an offensive foul, it's beyond frustrating. The defender wasn't even set. It was clearly a blocking foul, yet the call goes the other way. Where is Luka supposed to go? What exactly did he do wrong? He makes a normal basketball move, gets his shot off cleanly, and somehow the refs call him for an offensive foul. This isn't just a bad call, it's a momentum-shifting moment. Instead of earning 2 free throws or another scoring opportunity, Luka gets penalized for simply playing basketball. Instead of the defender being called for initiating contact, Luka is blamed for something that happens on nearly every possession, and you can see it all over his face, because it's the same story every game. Soft fouls called against him. No whistles when he gets hit. Technical fouls when he reacts. At this point, it's not just bad luck, it's a trend. The refs aren't just making occasional mistakes, it's starting to feel like Luka is being targeted. Here, Luka confronts the referee, and it's clear he's had enough. And honestly, who can blame him?
Dončić called for the foul. And a delay of game.
Tries to stay composed, but you can see it. He's had enough. He walks over to the referee, arms out, shaking his head, clearly looking for an explanation. How is this happening every single night? He's not yelling, throwing his arms wildly, or trying to show up the officials. He just wants to understand why the calls are so inconsistent. But instead of getting an answer, all he gets is more frustration. Because really, what can the referees say? They can't explain why Luka gets hit and doesn't get the whistle. They can't justify why minimal contact against him results in a foul. And they certainly can't defend why he gets technicals for things other players get away with. So instead of addressing the blatant inconsistencies, they just ignore it and move on. And for Luka, that's exactly the problem. A tech for wiping sweat. You can't make this up. Watch as Luka gets a technical foul for simply wiping sweat off the ball. Yes, you saw that correctly. He takes the ball, wipes it off, something players do all the time, and the refs hit him with a technical foul for wiping sweat off the ball. Let that sink in, not for complaining, not for taunting, not for throwing the ball aggressively, for doing something completely normal, something every player does in a game. At this point, what are we even doing? This isn't about maintaining control of the game anymore. This is about Luka being held to a different standard than everyone else. Other players can argue. They can question calls. They can get emotional. Luka, he gets punished for things that aren't even violations, and it doesn't stop there. Once again, Luka gets another technical, this time for simply complaining about a call. Players do it all the time. Luka knew he was right, yet instead of the refs reconsidering, he's the one getting penalized.
Right back to Luka. Luka with 3, with 2. Oh, and they bailed him out a bit right there.
They bailed him out a bit?
Yeah, big time.
A big time bit.
Yeah.